Good day, folks. Welcome to the MB Wildman channel. On today's video, just real quick, just something I wanted to bring to you. It's the 1st of March, and here in New Brunswick, we're starting to get a few nice warm days. Snow's starting to melt a little bit, so I'm getting a few of the bear baits going for spring. This one's pretty close to the house, so there's still some snow on. It allows me to use my sled to carry bait in, and just to let you know, you can bait bears with almost anything, and a lot of you guys know this. This isn't something, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, right? Like you can feed bears anything, pretty much, once you get them coming to a site. The trick is, or what I find at least, is getting them coming to that site initially. So if you're starting a new bait, or you're on a bait that wasn't super active last spring or last fall, I recommend that you start out with meat scraps. Contact your local butcher. Usually they're more than willing to get rid of stuff, even if it's just like heads and feet and tails and whatnot, just something for that meat smell. Special thanks to Corey and the boys down at Spearville Butchers for hooking me up with some scraps the other day. And I've had these in the barn, for a couple of months over the winter time. They're pretty good and frozen now, as you can see. But what I like to do is I like to come back here and I like to fill my trickle feeder. This is my Trickle Barrel feeder. I like to fill it right to the top. I mean bottom to top solid with meat scraps. And I like to do it early, like way before I would want to be, even thinking. Most people aren't even thinking about bait and bear at this time. And I'm back here running baits, right? So what I like to do, I like to use the trickle feeder for a couple of reasons. Number one is they can't lug it away, right? So they've got it right now. Nothing's going to be able to eat that. I mean, maybe a few birds are going to be able to, there's a few small holes. If you haven't seen my video on how to make these Trickle Barrel bait feeders, go ahead and check it out. It's on the channel. I'll try to leave a link somewhere up here in the corner in this video to that one. But these are great, and what this does is it keeps bears. The idea is that it keeps bears at your site for a lot longer. However, the other thing that it does, for those of you that are, might be baiting bears on someone else's property, or you don't like, to pick up a lot of the clutter and stuff from your own property, what these do is they keep everything that a bear can't consume inside the barrel, right? So you take a look, the sun is really bad, but you take a look, right? So here's a nice huge big chunk of cow, right? Great big bone in there and a big knuckle bone here. This is great bear bait. Okay, now if I toss this in my regular barrel, which is just right over there, if I toss this in the regular barrel, then a bear is going to come out early spring, hungry as can be. They're going to fish around in that barrel. They're going to pick this up. They're going to drag it off in the woods somewhere, and they're going to eat it. No problem, except for that two things happened right there. Number one, they didn't stay at my bait site. I want to get bears trained to stay at my site. Okay, for as long as possible. That gives me the best chance of seeing a bear at my bait, at my site, as there can be. The other thing it does is that it tells the bears they can just grab and go, right? Not good. Also, what it does is it leaves this big leg bone, once they're done chewing on this, and they get all the meat and stuff off it leaves this big leg bone laying somewhere in my woods. Or your farmer's woods, or your neighbor's woods, or whoever's woods you happen to be in, or wherever they drag the bone. I'm not saying the woods isn't full of bones already. However, you want to anger a farmer, go ahead and have this bone get sucked up in a, in their processor or their combine or in a bale of hay or something, right? Out there in their field when they're harvesting, or in the springtime when they're planting, whatever. That's the last thing you want to do is upset the local neighbors, or anybody for that matter. I just get sick and tired of picking them up out of the back field too. Right, like I've got a specific bone pile, and anyway, so what the Trickle Barrel does, to make a long story short, what the Trickle Barrel does, you pop this baby in here, right? It's gonna, as it warms up, it's gonna start to smell. It's gonna draw those bears in. They're gonna mess with this barrel. They're gonna kick it around in circles. They're gonna fish their nails in the little holes. They're gonna roll it around once the snow's all gone, and they're gonna be able to get the maggots and the pieces of meat and the little stuff out of there. But that big knuckle bone and that big leg bone isn't coming out of this barrel. They can clean it, right? Like little mice and rats and all kinds of stuff can clean it, and that big bone's going to be in the barrel. At the end of the season, right, after you take a bear, or whenever you want to stop using the Trickle Barrel, it's real simple. You come back with a bike and a bucket or whatever, flip the top off it, empty all the bones out of the barrel, empty everything you want, take them wherever you want, and it's all done, all gone in one shot. Super easy cleanup, saves a boatload of work of, like picking stuff out of the fields or whatever you want to do. Now, I know a lot of guys don't care about that. They just like, whatever, their bones are natural, whatever, whatever in the woods. Okay, if you're that guy, shut the video off and move on. But if you're not that person and you want to be a responsible hunter, and you want to be responsible for your landowners, to your property owners, respect those that give you permission to hunt on their property, then one of the big things you'll find is that it helps to clean up your big bones afterward. A lot of people, especially in this area where I am, a lot of people will deny permission to hunt on a property for bear if you're going to use meat as a bait, for the very specific reason that they don't want all the bones left laying all over their agriculture fields, right? This might be the solution to that if you explain the barrel to them, or you try it a couple of years and you use meat and there's no bones left laying around. They're like, oh, okay, you're pretty good and you can do this. That's what the trickle bait feeder, the trickle bait barrel feeder will also do for you, especially starting out a bait. So I always start with meat. I can smell this. It's a nice warm day here in March right now, and I can already start to smell this meat. I'm going to fill this, snap the cap back on it, and then that'll be it until I come back here. My second bait will be probably, 2-3 weeks into season, but there's going to have a 45-gallon drum right full of these meat scraps to get them through the spring. So anyway, listen, just a quick tip for, how to clean up and how to keep your bones all in one spot with the trickle feeder. So hope this something helps you out. And until next time, happy hunting from the MB Wildman channel.